for stopping in. On It's Vegan today, we are gonna make tomato rosemary flatbread. To start this recipe, we are going to mix our dry ingredients: flour, salt, pepper, powdered rosemary, onion powder, and garlic powder. Just throw these together. Set this aside and get our wet ingredients. Now let's start our wet ingredients. I have a cup of water. I'm adding some sugar and some yeast, and I am going to use 1/4 cup of sourdough starter. If you don't have sourdough starter, just use all water. I know my yeast is good, but if we set this aside, we can let it proof. We'll get bubbles and know it is good. And I chopped up some fresh rosemary. We're gonna add that to our dry. Let this sit a minute, and then I will show you how I can tell my yeast is good. This is set for a minute or two, and I'm not sure if you can catch it on the video, but it is getting little bubbles on the top of it. I am going to add a tablespoon of oil to this. Mix that all up. It will want to separate. And then we're gonna add it to our dry. Well, I didn't expect that to happen. I am going to need to mix this with my hands a little bit, and instead of getting dough all over my oil, I like to pour a little bit into a dish so I can just dip my fingers in there. I'm gonna work this all into a ball, a little bit of kneading, and depending on your flour, maybe you need a little more water, maybe you need a little more flour. I'm gonna add a splash more water. While the sourdough is not necessary for this recipe, I like to add it because it is a probiotic and good for gut health. Get it all worked together. Right, and then I want this to be an oiled ball, so we'll add a little more oil to it, work it all around. Then we are going to cover it with a tea towel and let it rise for about 15 minutes and do a little cleanup. The dough has been resting. We are going to knead it again. I'm going to get a little bit of my oil I have sitting here on my fingertips. And for this, now I just do a stretch and a fold, a stretch and a fold. And one more, and then I will oil this again, and we will give it another 15 minutes to rise. It's been another 15 minutes. It's time to knead our dough again. Get a little oil on my fingers so it doesn't stick. 3, and one more. 4 folds. Make it into a nice little ball. It's starting to feel like a nice dough now. Get it all oiled up. And I'm just making it a little flatter because I don't have a bowl with very high sides and I want to keep it off my towel. So cover again and let it sit. I've chopped up the rest of my rosemary. I have some parsley and some garlic, and we are going to add into our oil. Get it all stirred in. And then I'm just gonna let this sit and all those flavors incorporate with each other. It's time to check our dough again. How pretty. Now we're just gonna shape it. I'm gonna start by shaping it with my hands. It doesn't really matter what shape you roll it into, as long as you get it pretty even. And it'll fit on your baking sheet. Flip it, make sure it's not stuck to my paper. I feel this piece is a little thicker. Flip it one more time. You want to roll it out till it's about 1/4 inch thick. Alright, then we're going to put it on a cookie sheet, cover it again, and let it sit for another 30 minutes. Our dough is rising, and I'm going to prep our tomato. I'm going to do kind of thin slices here. And like this one has the core in the middle, I'm just gonna cut that bit out. And to make this easy to eat, I like to go around my tomato and do little slices in the skin. This way, when you are taking a bite and trying to pull it off of the bread, you are not going to slide a whole piece of tomato off all in one bite. Do our little slices. And you're just going to want to slice as much tomato as you think will nicely cover the size of bread you have rolled out. I love to make this recipe first thing when I am getting fresh garden tomatoes. One of my favorite summer recipes. I'll be back when the dough is done rising. All right, here is our bread dough. I like to go through and give it these finger pokes all around. Oh, and my oven is preheating to 400 degrees. So some nooks and crannies in here. Then lay out our tomatoes. Then we're gonna get our oil and garlic and rosemary and parsley. We're gonna spread this all around. Get all the olive oil and herbs on here and spread them around. Now that we have that all spread around, some pepper, and I like to do smoked salt on this, but any kind of coarse ground salt on top is nice, and this is just to taste. As soon as my oven is preheated, this is going in. How beautiful. Timer's just gone off. You can see we have some browning here. I want to take this off of this to let it cool. And I want to take it off the paper as well so it does not retain any of the moisture. We'll let it cool and cut it. This is cold enough to cut it up. I like to use a pizza cutter. Time for a taste test. The way all these flavors combine, what a good combination. I hope that you guys will give this a try and let me know what you think down in the comments. Have a great day.